But this issue of capacity building education is very important, and I've heard a lot of murmurings if Apia, well, Blue Sky is giving away all this credit and giving all this access to kids and Digicel to kids to freely access. And so there tends to be this immediate need to control what children view and what young people view. And there is a lot of also people who are saying, well, that's a responsibility of the provider. They should be able to assist the user in ensuring that they're using it within a responsible way and that is safe, especially for the children. But I think, Tosi, what you brought up is that education is key, and I think a partnership approach would be quite important, especially with our friend here who can go and speak to his boss at MSITS about, doing this collaborative approach, because it's, sorry to say, it's actually not the media's responsibility. Yes, education is part of the journalist's responsibility as well as inform and influence. But if you're providing a service, then you should also assist in ensuring that service is used responsibly. And I think on that note, I'll just give it one more just for short reflection so that we can close up, if that's okay.
If there is one thing, may I ask, Blue Sky, could you please block people who ask you for credits? All of a sudden you get this from my nephews going, someone is requested tutala. And I'm going, I don't want to give you my tutala.
Yeah, we'll deal with your personal issue later. But if we can just have another wrap up of just final reflections before we finish off the session. Alex, do you want to start?
Okay, well, thank you. I was just taking point to what you were just talking about. We give a lot of credit. We give a lot of access to people. I'll give you an example. I'm a father. I got my son who's studying at NUS now. And so he struggles through learning about different subjects, science for one of them. And so he goes on the net and he's looking at Khan Academy, which basically you can search on maths, science, and everything else. And so he's not being able to find that opportunity at the university through lectures to gain that information. And through the tutorials. So he comes home and he does this research. And so I take from my side, being also his service provider, we give him data and he uses it for that purpose. But he's also looking at other things. He's also looking at his career. So he's like searching around. He wants to be a pilot. So he's like searching around. He's actually downloaded this game and he's flying planes around for a couple of hours in the day. Which again, as what Rita's saying, we as parents have to control that because they're the nearest to you. An operator is too far to go and see what is happening on a phone, but the parent is. And I think we touched on this. There was a conference, I think it was last year. Parents have to take responsibility of what kids are using their phones on, and I think they have the right to go and say, what are you doing? What are you seeing? Can I see what you're doing? And those are valid things. So I think, in terms of what you're just saying, press, just back on the press, I think it's important what jobs you're doing. I think being truthful, I think in the case of OLP, I probably put it back to the press, be an advocate, question what is happening, and be maybe just trying to help decipher and help people understand the truth and if there's anything that's there that's not right. Because I think people will take it, you always want to test things. There's always two sides to the coin. So you got to make sure that those things are properly communicated and reflected properly. I think that's an area where the press is important. Journalism is important. Somebody who could, maybe for me who can't talk, and I see it, and I'm going, is there truth in this? And why is this? Is there something else in the story that we don't know about? And it's for someone to investigate and find out. So I think that's where the journalism part comes into play, because you guys help discern that for us. But look, I think where we come, these are all new challenges, and I think this forum has allowed certain things to be brought up, but it needs to continue. And on behalf of Blue Sky and the members here, I think these things are very good. I think we just need to continue it. We don't have the answers to it, but I think together we could find some mechanism to make sure that you guys are allowed to express your points, people are allowed to do it, and everything works in a more collaborative way. Thank you.
Thank you. So that sounded to me like an agreement to fund a certain program on these issues. Thank you. So Alex, on the issue of on parenting, you're right. Ultimately, it's the parents' responsibility to show. So maybe we should go to the maternity ward and educate the parents that just before they have the children. But look, this issue of, I appreciate you talking about verification and truth. And a very good example of this is when OLP posted about Kulaipa's son, Oscar, who holds a role with ADB. And it said that he was the ambassador of Samoa in New York, which was incorrect. I did call up a journalist and say, can you please just write a story that says that's actually incorrect? Because everyone knows that Fituri, Alioainga Fituri is the UN ambassador. So, and the journalist chose not to write anything about it. But if journalists continue to not to allow for these misinformation not to be corrected, and these are public figures and so forth, they do have an impact. So what exactly is the role of the journalist here? There should be some fact-checking and verifying some of this information, because once it's shared over 1,000 times on Facebook, that becomes public information. Legitimately, that's more readership than the first hour of Samoa Observer. So, it's something that we do need to look into of, what are the things that can be double-checked and can be used as stories. Yeah, tsala ke va kule si akila wati pa e mo.
Whaftaisiro. Le whaititi alanga ka whaftai le tato maftanga nei. And as I've mentioned earlier in the beginning, when that first session break the ice in the morning, we need us governments sitting around here and really listen. There are very valid challenges that also government needs to hear. And so I thank you also to the organizing committee, the JAWS, the UNESCO for making this forum available, and for a few of us to be here and also share what government is doing at the moment in terms of media. I think won't be staying for our wrap-up session, but I would like to mention a few points, Shiro. I think there's a need to relook into our regulations in terms of this online content. Our newspaper and our broadcasters, they are well governed, and we need also to take these providers, these platforms, to really, have their say in things like this. We had a discussion with some of the delegation from Indonesia. They were visiting our country. Indonesia, they have a law on regulating the content, and they have already also signed an MOU with Facebook. So the values and the beliefs of this country in their culture and their law against the values of Facebook. When government report any post or any account that goes against the beliefs of this country, they immediately shut it down. And so people create another account. They shut it down, because they don't have that much resources just to go over the investigation process of finding who behind all these bloggers. And so it works for them because they have the resources, they have the expertise, and they employed almost 200 people just to monitor every post on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on Twitter. This is their whole task, and they have that. It suits them. But I think this is, as mentioned by Tosi, the importance of educating our people. We don't have that resources. Even government, we don't have that money to go down that path and ensure that we really dig up and find the right people. But I think it's also time for us media, who are currently regulated to also stand up and make a say and stand of how we can deal with this anonymous and who is not self-regulated in a way. So to sum up, I think Alex mentioned the process of government in terms of the office of the regulator in telecommunications. So the process is there, but I think it needs to also consider, I mean, how our media council and our association play their part also into ensure that government is informing of how we can all work together to build a better media and coverage of sound. I don't have Facebook, I don't have any other social accounts. Because of fia kia lupai kaulitala mua, ka koua traditional news, because that's a source. Yeah, pe ole fata uole na ia nei aso ia mole toil faftai lava fa loal.
Ia whawtaitala, ele isa ka Facebook, ele Facebook alona au, ia le iloa umatuai. Ia le la atu pela vanoa, wha umaile o tato wrap up.
E o foi lai tu laga ia o le whae vela o whaunga tu whai asila lau tele nau nau o le mata opo. Awa e se mo maua communication bota maiti. Lewa whawhitai le lau mea le nā tau mātua. A mawhawhawa o le teimina sa wale le ti oba sa o mai le TV la whanau i aso o tui tuila. A o la tapere o whainga awa. O le naa. I pay out the communication let out the pole day or the vale or the malom and public. All I can say I'm a very big fan. All and I all utile lone mo affairs mo affairs ole ia tatu atu ya Trump ma stormy ma ole. It's actually a legitimate issue. If a man or a politician is dishonest to his wife, can he be also fully assumed that he is dishonest in the control of affairs of the public? I mean, these are the kind of questions that arise in the debate. So if you're going to control it, what can you control? Who's going to be the controller? And what right have they got to control what I want to hear or what I want to read? Yeah, one of today the report ale Samoa planet. If it hadn't been for OLAP, I wouldn't have known about Samoa planet. Now after reading OLAP, I read Samoa planet, and I read Samoa and Samoa news. That is my right to be. To have access to the information. So, I mean, it's a much bigger issue than for to control. Yeah, if I take the level, it's Samai because our generation, if I want the time changing in my phone, I have to ask my grandson to do it. I am completely lost. Community. You think back, radio, they have that 10-second gap to control it. I swear, you cut it out. But the norms have changed. Because I remember when Peter Jones was interviewed at win by the All Blacks. In those days, Peter said, "How are you feeling?" Oh, completely buggered. You should have seen what was written in every newspaper, blah, blah. But those are the kind of issue now. It's more, everybody's have access to all of various information, but I still think it's a personal responsibility to control what your kids read and see and so forth.
But just quickly tell her before you start. We're not actually here to say we're going to control it. We're actually here to discuss mechanics. In the case where ele mafai o ele o yaile parental responsibility, in the case where there's no other governance structure, especially in relation to child pornography and things like that, there needs to be regulations in place. I mean, this is what ultimately led to someone like Donald Trump being elected. because there was a role of social media in it. So I think we just need to reframe. We're actually discussing how can we assist the public in a way that it is safe and at the same time not limit freedom of the press and the media. I'd now like to move on to Tosi, and then we'll wrap up with the only female of the panel. Oh, wait.
The thing is, Falongo mentioned something about affairs of politicians and that. The Deputy Prime Minister of Australia, well, he's a former Deputy Prime Minister now. A few months ago, he was removed. Barnaby Joyce was removed from his position as Deputy Prime Minister of Australia because he had an affair with his Chief of Staff. She got pregnant, and of course he got removed. But that's how the system works in Australia. Samoa is a very different. We have our own different system, and I guess it goes back to the point of I think Tala mentioned it earlier. Le ava fata, le tala noa. And I think it's our culture will always be there. Regardless of whatever goes on, we can always come down and sit down as people and discuss these issues. And I know, look, personally, I don't care whether the Prime Minister is screwing whoever. I mean, as long as he can do the job, as long as he can do the job, to me, that's a personal thing. I don't care whoever he goes out with, but I guess it comes out to the question of then you have to question the legitimacy of his office, so to speak. But then that's something up to the Prime Minister. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is this: I don't really give a hoot about who you sleep with, as long as you can do the job. That's my own opinion. It is quite different in Samoa because of the way we operate, because at the end of the day, we're all related somehow. And so it's very important that we all sit down and discuss these issues in the open. In relation to what we spoke about, and I think in the digital era, politicians and government agencies frequently find themselves the target of criticism on social media. And this is an example after the election of Donald Trump, you see Silicon Valley has renewed calls to regulate social media in America. And I think this is also the case now in many, many countries in the world. Again, in Samoa, it will be very hard to do it because we've heard from members of the panel that we do not have the financial capacity to be able to do it. That's something for the panel to answer, for Samoa going forward. But that's my contribution.
Yeah, Rita, I'll give you the save the best for last.
How about short and sweet? I guess to end off, whaftaitele mo lewa noa lewa o mai whatasi e whatala no fo I name ta upu. But in regards to the subject at hand, I guess for internet alone, the three major impacts of using this tool, it does impact media and society, personal freedoms and rights, and the digital economy, the availability and the access to internet, again, how you use that tool for media, we would like that, media does use this tool responsibly so that, information is verified and accurate, just as the colleagues and panel has mentioned. Everybody else's responsibility as far as making this tool available, and they have their own responsibility, just as mentioned, as parents and the different levels of responsibilities. There's the parents, but then there's businesses and individuals and governments. It's just a continuous challenge, but it has to be continuous, It can't just be, okay, we'll do one workshop today, yeah, lava loa. You know, and we think we've resolved something, but we haven't. You know, it has to be a continuous, you know, effort, you know, so that, you know, we protect our children, you know, we build our economies and continuously use this internet, you know, so that, you know, we can better our society. And in the realm of the media, you know, again, you know, it's there as a tool, you know, and the online media, it's used for all different ways, emails, and, you know, how it can be stopped or started, you know, at the whim of government saying, okay, you need to shut it down. But again, those are different areas where there are a lot of key drivers that people need to be involved. But I like to go back to the talanoa. I still prefer, you know, as much I've been in IT for more than 25 years, maybe 30, I won't go any further. But, you know, as much as I've been involved in technology, you know, personally, I still prefer the face-to-face. You know, the Samoan culture, that's the way to resolve issues, and we need to get people to come in and whakalango ka upu ma whawhika uli, you know, so that we can resolve. And the media has a big impact in that area, especially in the area of online content and media. So just want to say whamalo, you know, to the media for, you know, being that avenue, you know, to bring out issues and so that people are aware. But again, to be mindful that there are responsibilities to providing that media online. You know, that, you know, whatever the standards are within the media and journalist societies. And I think I'll end it there, and thank you again.
Can we just have a little clap for our... I want to take this opportunity to just thank you for your contribution today. Tala, Alex, Rita, and Tosi, really appreciate you imparting your own expertise from your relevant fields and your organizations. Truly appreciate it. And I think Atarina has some added words of thanks from JAWS and UNESCO.
Thank you, Sherelle. If I may just say a few words, I'm not a big fan, but I do follow OLB, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I like to classify OLB as a cybercrime. It's a third-party user with interesting information that, you know, we find very... But the impact of OLP has led to the revival of the Libel Act, and also with the Prime Minister suggesting to shut down Facebook, which that it hinders the environment, the creating an enabling environment for press freedom to thrive in Samoa. So that's a concern from us, and that's why we set up this session. Especially, we don't have the answers. We don't think we can regulate, but we can talk about what we can do the least to ensure that we are putting in place some form of governance governing how we express our thoughts freely on internet in a safe and responsible way. So I'd like to add on a thank you to Langipoiva for moderating our session today. Thank you for drilling our panelists, bringing out the best thoughts in them. Thank you, Tala, Alex, and Rita and Tosi for making your time to join us today.